All right, you two people, we're back. Me and Eddie here. Obviously, the Jets played Thursday night football. I happened to be at a Halloween. It was Halloween. It was a Halloween function. Uh, it was worked out good for me because the first half of football was absolutely miserable. I left at halftime, came home with my son, and watched the second half of the game. It was like a whole different football game, so it worked out
It certainly
well for
was.
me. And so let's get Ed's opinion on what happened Thursday night.
It was a tale of two, as you said, Dave. It was a tale of two halves. I mean, I was sitting there. I wasn't at a party. I was watching the game on Halloween night. I was shocked that, well, not shocked. The first half, I was not shocked. I was as we talked about. I expect the worst from this team now. So I wasn't disappointed. I mean, I was going as we were talking before we went live. I mean, the first half, first drive, 3 plays, punt. Next time the Jets had the ball, 4 plays, punt. Then they had the touchdown drive, but that knucklehead Curly drops the
Yeah,
ball before he gets in the end zone, so it goes through so it's a fumble. So it was touchback.
I'm always amazed at how that could possibly happen because these guys are playing football probably since high school, if not earlier. Like I
I don't
just
get
that's
it.
amazing, you know.
I mean, yeah. Why don't you? What makes you? In fact, it's funny when I was watching that live, I was like, I think he dropped that ball. I was pretty close. I was watching my son Zach, and he goes, I don't think. I thought he was. No, I don't know. Let's see. Sure enough, he. Yeah. Well, why you have to drop it the second? Why not? Make sure you get the touchdown. Go look down
Right,
and look and
right.
see some green or black on the field before you friggin'
Yeah.
drop the
I'm
ball.
Me being a compassionate person, I feel bad for him because I know like he's gonna hear it and he knows he did a knuckleheaded play. But
Well,
you know,
I'm not like you, Dave. I lack compassion, so I will. You can ask my
yeah,
wife
yeah,
that. So
yeah.
I just, I
That's
think, you
good
know
though.
what? Screw
We
him.
need
Put him
that.
on the
We need
bench for the
that.
rest of that game and let him let
Yeah.
him let him think about what he did.
I hear you. I hear you.
But then after that, then after that drive, that was a drive. I mean, it was 6 plays. After that, they 3 plays punt, and then they 4 plays punt, and
Uh,
then 3 plays, and they're done after the first half. So it was interesting how that first half, other than that one drive where they had that fumble, it was ridiculous. It was the same old Jets. It was 7-0. I was expecting an ugly second half.
yeah.
I was even debating if I was going to flip something else on it that night, if I was going to sit through and
Yeah.
watch it. But then the second half. It was great. I mean, start off with an 11 play, 70-yard drive. Then the next time they get the ball, another 12 play, 70-yard drive. It was amazing. And then that was it. That's their drives. They scored on they scored on all their drives in the second half, I believe. So and then other than the last play where they had, but there was three nice drives in that
Yeah.
second half. It makes you think, is it finally all together, Dave, or is it just
Well,
TJ Stroud
that,
doesn't play well against the Jets
that, that,
at MetLife for whatever reason?
that's the $1 million question. Like so here's a perfect example. Like, do I hope the Jets lose two more games and this is over with so I can just relax and just enjoy the games whether they win or lose, or do the Jets keep you on the hook, to see what happens? Now, of course, last week we were smart enough to say, if they win against, the Texans, all right, that's nice, but we have a long way to go. I mean,
Yep.
I'm looking now at the Cardinals and the Colts. I'm looking at if we win those 2 games in a row with the bye week coming up, that's going to give every single Jet fan a level like unbelievable. That's going to shoot us right back up to the top, especially within that time frame, the 2 weeks and the bye week. Depending on what the other AFC teams do with the losses, it's definitely going to motivate us and shoot us up. Now, that being said, I don't have much confidence they're going to win the next 2 games. I'm hoping so. I'm sure you feel the same way because the Jets haven't shown that dominance where, like, listen, Ed, the only thing I can relate this to is, the only thing I can relate Jets' success is to the fact when we had Rex Ryan and the Sanchez team with the great defense in the running game where I
Yep.
was like, nobody's going to score on us. I don't care if you put the top
You
offensive
win
team
every
in
game
against
because
us,
that defense was
whatever.
so good. You win every
So,
game.
like, I need to see, like, something along those lines where, like, we're going to be okay. So it's not just about winning, it's about how do we win? Did we look really good? Now, the Cardinals aren't a juggernaut team. So, I mean,
No, they
whatever.
could beat the
Neither,
Cardinals.
neither are the Colts. So, I
Agreed.
mean,
Those teams, yeah, they could. Those teams, those are two winnable games.
right. So you have to win these games. Maybe listen, I'm not going to complain if we barely beat those 2 teams with the bye week
Wins a
coming
win,
up.
as we said. Right? I always say wins a win.
But, going forward, you want to see like, okay, wow, they look so good that we have a chance against the Chiefs or something. Or maybe I'll say the Bills now because the Bills are doing pretty well, whatever. That's what I want to see. Your
Well,
opinion on that.
Well, I was gonna say yes, but the two couple of bright spots I saw in it, well, only really in the second half, not the first half. The bright spots was, Devontae Adams and Garrett Wilson both had big games. They both had over 90 yards receiving. Garrett Wilson had 2 touchdowns. Devontae Adams had 1 touchdown. So they both had 90, over 90 yards receiving. Bryce Hall, he only had 74 yards. It was only 15 carries. So he had a 4.9 average, so he played well. So I like that's
Hey, don't get distracted. Stick to the game.
how could it not get distracted? That was a bonus. But so there was a couple of bright spots I saw. The offense and also the catch. I mean, hopefully, if anything's going to spark this team, maybe the catch, one of the greatest catches ever. I mean, that was amazing. Honestly, I was always on the fence, but I didn't realize a shin is a separate body part that equals a knee leg. I don't know.
Oh yeah, you and NFL players also. Yeah, not just us. The novice people, even the experts are like, never heard of that before.
Neither did I. Shin is a distinct body part that counts. That was that. Hopefully, if anything's going to spark us, Devontae Adams had a big game. Garrett Wilson had a big game. Yeah. Bryce Hall had a decent game, a good game, a very good game. He didn't have a ton of carries, but like I said, he had high average yards. He had a big couple of long runs, at least one long run.
Listen,
there's things to be optimistic about this team, but it's always that. Are they going to show up next week?
Well, Ed, I want to just say, like, I just had a press conference, I believe it was today, and we all know this, and any football fan knows, especially Jet fans. We all know, and Aaron Rodgers knows, and that's why we're supposed to be lucky we have Aaron Rodgers. He knows how can you cover everybody on this Jet offense, and he knows that, and he said it today. You have Devontae Adams, you got Garrett Wilson, you have Bryce Hall, you have the tight end, what's the name there? Conklin. I mean, somebody's got to be open. Listen, I just watched the Chiefs. I was at the bar watching the Chief game. I'm like, they go up and down the field. The
scary thing about the Chiefs is they haven't been that dominant yet. I mean, they were undefeated. They haven't been that dominant. I mean, that game they could have lost that. They were in overtime. They could have lost it. They haven't been overly dominant. I mean, Mahomes is having an okay year, not a good spectacular. It's still 8-0. You're right.
I always felt comfortable. And this is what my main thing that I grab onto. I felt comfortable that Aaron Rodgers was going to be like the best Jet head coach with his experience, that he was going to know how to get people open and how to score. He wants to score 28 points a game, which is that I love to hear that. So the fact that doesn't happen sometimes with his leadership and his veteran status is it's been baffling to me, and I'm still waiting to see some consistency. I know, they beat the Texans. Okay, that was nice, but I'm not the kind of Jet fan that's like, whatever. Let's just see how we go forward with this.
The only thing that makes me get me a little nervous sometimes is since we played as you mentioned earlier, we played the Thursday night game. Is the 3 extra day layoff going to impact them at all?
I mean, I would think it would on the positive side with recovering from injuries and getting a little bit, whatever. I was glad they were able to win that game with the 4 days rest or whatever, And I love what you said, Ed, last week. You said, I don't see them correcting this in like 3 or 4 days. That was a great quote that you said, whatever.
They did.
I obviously agree with that. So I'm glad they came away with the win somehow. And listen, I'm guilty of just every week thinking they're going to get better, thinking they're going to learn, thinking they're going to improve. So I'm not, getting crazy, and I don't think I will be for quite a while. But let's win next week. That's a tough team. That Kyler Murray's a pain in the ass quarterback, just like a Lamar Jackson. It's a pain in the ass have to account for him. He's scrambling around.
It's a tough game, but as we said earlier, it's a winnable game. So it was Indianapolis after that. That's a good. They could it'd be nice to win those 2 games and go into the. But I don't want to jump ahead. Dave, with this team, let's take one week at a time. Let's hopefully, you said we had the extra days rest. Hopefully, Aaron Rodgers is a little banged up. We know with his legs. Hopefully, he could that extra rest helped him out.
Yeah.
Some treatment. I read somewhere in a funny magazine that he drinks this cayenne pepper mix with water.
I heard about yeah. I've been talking about that.
Hopefully, he was drinking a lot of that for the last 10 days so he could recover. What do you think of the Mike Williams trade? I mean, it's funny how they gave up on Mike Williams.
Well, we knew that was happening, right?
He was the odd man out. Yeah, when they beat Devontae Williams, and he was the odd man out.
I think Mike Williams is a very good receiver.
Agreed.
I don't know what he's a tall. He's like one of those like Plaxico Burress kind of Randy Moss kind of big tall guys. I don't know what went wrong there with the injury and the lack of training camp, whatever it was. But I'm always interested to see how he does now. He went to the Steelers, right?
I believe, yeah. Was it the Steelers? I'm trying to
I
the
think
trade.
I
Let me
think he
look it
went to
up.
the
I know he
I
was.
think he
They got
went to
like a
the
fifth round draft pick, right? Though, so it was.
yeah. It was like I'm always curious to see how these guys do when they leave the Jets, how they if they light it up or not, and how they do whatever. So and it's an AFC team, so we'll see what happens
Sure.
with that. But listen, uh, we're in the mode obviously because of the talent we have on this team. We're like playoffs plus a playoff win, so we're waiting to see that happen and the confidence that they can win a playoff game. And you got to beat, not to look too far ahead, but you got to beat the Cardinals. You got to beat the Colts. Take your bye week. Everybody gets healthy. Come back. And wouldn't it be great if you beat these two teams? And we'll talk before the Colt game. We'll see how they do against the Cardinals. But we're still. I think Ed, you can agree with this. We're still waiting to see them really show that they are a dominant team because of that talent, and they beat the Cardinals by 10 or 14 points or something. We're waiting to see that happen, and the
I just
Colts as
don't want to
well
have a
going down
front.
the
Yeah,
road.
I don't want to start off the game with a first half where you have all these punts and a rookie fumbling before he crosses the goal line. That'd be nice
Yeah,
to see a
I mean
nice
they
down.
keep talking like they got it figured out after that second half, but it's to be seen. It's to be
But
seen. So
three big drives, three big scoring drives in that second half. Maybe they did. We'll see. One thing the Jets have taught us, Dave, is don't get too excited over it. Don't look too far ahead. Just take it one game at a time because
absolutely,
as good
absolutely,
as they looked in that second
yeah,
half, they looked as ugly in the first half, and
yeah,
hopefully they could turn this into a positive on
yep.
Sunday.
Just to finish it up, I don't know what you feel about this, but I do take a comfort that if they do have 9 losses, like I do take a comfort, like okay, the season's over, because this roller coaster is very stressful, So,
It's
you know,
stressful, yes.
yeah. So let's see what happens.
Yeah, no, agreed.
All right.
I do like this 4 o'clock slot for the Jets. We had a lot of 1 o'clock games and a lot of primetime
Mm,
games. So I do like that Sunday 4 o'clock time slot, especially being off on Monday for Veterans Day. So it's a kind of
yeah.
nice
And
slot being in the
so
four
yeah, they're
o'clock
playing
slot.
at 4 o'clock, 4:30 Sunday, and then the following Sunday, that game has been flexed. They're not going to be playing
They
that
got
night.
flexed out, yes.
Yeah, yeah, which makes sense. So whatever. So
I mean, people are tired of seeing the Jets lose on
yeah,
prime time. So all they did wouldn't beat Houston, but I know exactly that they got flexed out. So that's
yep, with the records and whatnot. So, all right. So, like I said, we'll get back together next week. We'll see what happens against the Cardinals. The Jets are going to keep it interesting, and we just keep hoping and wishing for the best. We'll see where it goes.
great. Like I said, it was the good thing about the Thursday night game. We got that extra couple of days to savor the
Yeah.
victory. 10 days to savor the victory.
Yep. All right, Ed. So hopefully next Wednesday we'll chat and we'll get this out on Thursday. And thanks for joining me. Be well. Let's go Jets.
Let's go Jets.
All right.